The Don't Get Fooled Show with Big Red and Ace. All right, let's go, Ace.
All right, boys and girls. Got a really good episode on the docket. Super excited. We have a guest today, guest at the studio. We got Z-Ball from the Z-Ball podcast joining us today. How you doing, Z?
Pretty good. How you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
Hey, no worries.
It's always good to have you on.
Always good to have Z-Ball on. The knowledge base here is unbelievable. Unbelievable. This is the sports encyclopedia. That should be the nickname right there for Z-Ball. I mean, look, me and Big Ree know our sports, especially basketball and football, but Z-Ball is at another level. And I'm not embarrassed or insecure to say that. Yeah. Z's at another level, and so it is a pleasure to have him on the show today. This is going to be our first only basketball show, Big Ree.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm so pumped.
I am super pumped, man. It's always football, college, or NFL, and this is all NBA today, so cannot wait. Let's get right into it. So without further ado, here we go, boys and girls. Let's start off with All-Star Weekend, Big Ree. All-Star Weekend was in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I have a lot of thoughts here, okay? A lot of thoughts and a lot of, feelings about the weekend. But let's start off with some of the, before we get into the actual game itself. We'll save the game.
The best for last.
Yeah, let's save that for last. But let's start off with some of the festivities. First, they had the rookie game and the sophomore game, and they broke it into multiple teams with ex-players like Durant Williams, Pau Gasol coaching. What do you guys think about? I mean, let's start with you, Z-Ball. What do you think about that new format, and how do you feel about that?
I'm not a fan of that new format. I mean, I always liked kind of the back in the day when I was young, watching the rookies versus sophomores, or either rookies East versus West.
Yep.
So I think 3 games broken up. To be honest, I didn't really even watch it. So I didn't really. I watched more of the celebrity game this time than I did of that game. So.
That says a lot in itself, right? That people are not tuning in. What about you, Big Ree?
Yeah, I didn't watch it either. I mean, don't like the new format. It's whack. A lot of the NBA is trying to get very creative, but they're getting too creative.
Ree, you literally hit the nail with the hammer right there, Big Ree. I think right on, right? Like, I watched part of those games. I didn't watch the whole thing, and that's normally I watch them all. But the NBA, I agree, they're trying to get too creative, and they're starting to just make this a big festivity and getting celebrities and the WNBA involved and international versus US, and they're just doing too much. And it's taken, for me, I mean, it seems like you guys have the same sentiment that you guys are not even watching it anymore. Because before, I'll be honest, that was I can't say that was my favorite event, is the rookie game, when the rookie East versus West, or even when they changed to sophomores, but I liked it when it was East versus West. I was so pumped to see a lot of these young rookies that didn't get too much playing time or you didn't know too much about, and see how they performed. And now it's what are they doing? They got these games up until 25, and it's just no excitement. And you guys said it perfect. You guys didn't watch it.
Yeah.
Not because you guys were busy, you guys didn't care. Because if you really wanted to watch it, just like the Super Bowl, you're going to set time aside, and you're going to be like, hey, I want to watch it. It comes on at 5 o'clock, I'm going to watch it. But, yeah, that was a doozy. Big time doozy. It's just, nobody's excited about that Friday night anymore. That's a joke. And I think you said it best, Big Ree. They're just trying to get too creative. Sometimes there's certain things you just don't need a fix.
Don't broke what's not fixed.
There you go. Well said, Big Ree. As a scholar, why did they change that up? Why did they have to make this change? That was a good game. Even when they went to, rookies versus sophomores, it was still a good game. So I don't understand why they had to change this up. Very disappointed. I mean, that's an understatement. Let's get into the Saturday night festivities with the slam dunk contest, the 3-point shootout. Let's start with a 3-point shootout. What do you think, Big Ree? We'll start with you.
It was kind of a bust. I mean, Dame pretty much walked away with it. Kevin Huerter, a lot of people picked. He was a complete bust. My guy Tyler Hero was a bust.
Yep.
Everyone disappointed overall. That was really bad. I mean, I was very disappointed in overall. But kudos to Dame. I'll pass it to Z-Ball.
Yeah, Z-Ball, let me ask you, like, first I'll ask you, the first part of it is, what was your overall thought of the actual contest?
The
Like,
3-point contest?
Yeah, 3-point contest.
I mean, pretty similar to what it's been. Obviously, they have the whole Moneyball rack now, and then they added those 2 3-point balls, the strike balls, on the I think the wing, left and right wing.
Yep.
So I think I think that's one event that they've kept pretty standard throughout the whole time I've been watching it. They've just added, I guess, more kind of scoring opportunities for the 3-point shooters out there. I think they've kept it most of the time, 6-8 participants. So it was about what I expected. I thought Damian Lillard was going to win. I think he's a guy that shines in big events, big games. So I just thought he was going to come out, and we know how well he can shoot the 3-ball from really anywhere on the floor. I mean, other than probably Stephen Curry, he's probably one of the better shooters and the guy that has a lot of range in the entire NBA. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I think he had what? He shot 20 times in the All-Star game, 23 pointers out of 21 total shots. But we'll get into that when we get into the actual All-Star game. So it was what you expected. You still enjoyed the event, right?
Yeah, I enjoyed the event, yeah.
Okay, that was my first question. You still enjoyed the event, and the second one was, it feels like that's one event that the players still come out and they want to win. Like,
yeah, for sure.
There's no players don't I'm gonna half-ass a 3-point contest. Like, they're still trying to make those shots. So they're trying. I think that's still one of the better contests there. If I'm correct, last year Cat won, right?
Yeah,
the Cat won it.
I think so, yeah. And then, but that's a very low-risk event. I mean, players are very rarely going to get injured just shooting 3-point shots, right? So compared to some of these other events, and players might be scared to kind of give it their all on some of these other events if the incentive is not high enough for them, So.
Which makes 100% sense, and we're gonna elaborate on that when we get into the All-Star game about players worrying about getting hurt, because that's going to be discussed when we talk about the actual game. So yeah, the All-Star game, in my opinion, I mean, I'm a big Damian Lillard fan, always been, and that guy is he comes to play. You said it best, when the moment's there. So that was exciting. What about what were your thoughts on the dunk contest? We got the winner, Mac McClung. He won. I know he's been bouncing around here and there, summer league rosters, preseason, and took home $100K in the victory. I'll throw it back to you, Z-Ball. Well, how did you like his performance?
Yeah, I mean, he was awesome, excellent for sure. I mean, he brought some excitement back to the dunk contest. I mean, dunk contest in itself is just, we've seen so much content throughout the years and stuff, so it kind of becomes a little difficult for the participants to go out there and get creative with some of the dunks. I mean, you saw Jericho Sims, he basically had 2 dunks that Vince Carter did in 2000, and everyone was going berserk for in 2000.
Yeah.
And he pretty much did dunks that were pretty similar, putting his arm in the basket, and no one really gave a damn. So, I mean, but Mac McClung, you got to hand it to him. I mean, 6'2", all his dunks, he hit them on the first try, and they were all spectacular dunks. He had the crowd, I mean, just with their jaws dropped the whole time, and I mean, you got to give him props. I mean, I think he's probably one of the few that's never played an NBA game in the season and won a dunk contest, right?
That's true. Yeah, that's true for sure.
Right.
I mean, yeah, and that's with them getting creative, kind of like Big Reset, and they're allowing people from the G League and different stuff to get involved. What was your thought on the dunk contest, Big Re?
Yeah, overall it was pretty bad. Besides McClung, it was bad.
I agree.
If that guy wasn't in it, this would be a complete
disaster.
For sure. Everything else was just average.
I agree.
He walked away with it.
He won, and he put on a good performance, but it's just one of those events where, I think they see that's dying, clearly, and Z-Ball touched on it, that we've seen so much, right? So it's hard to replicate, it's hard to just get something new, right? That's that exciting, right? People have been dunking for the last 70, 80 years, right? When to get something so creative It's not easy, and so it's tough to really get people excited. But he did a good job. He won. Congrats to him. Maybe this will lead to a 10-day contract. Maybe who knows?
He got a contract with Puma. I'm not sure. That's what I heard.
That seems about right. You know, at least he gets paid there. I mean, Puma signing people across the board. So congrats. But I think they have, after we get into the NBA All-Star game right now, we'll have to see. Like, I think the NBA's really got to make some adjustments on the whole weekend, and there's just no excitement. But let's get into the All-Star game recap. The actual All-Star game, I think it ended 184, 175. They had the 3 quarters where they were playing, and then the last quarter had the Elam ending. I'm going to start with you, Big Ree, here. What was your thought of the All-Star game?
So I normally don't even watch this now. It's so bad that I don't watch. But one of my friends invited me over, so I did watch.
Okay.
This was really bad. The first 3 quarters are very bad. Nobody plays defense. Legitimately, everyone's it's like you're just like doing warm-ups of a game.
Yep.
It's so bad. Like it's pretty much a joke. The first 3 quarters. Then they come to play in the 4th quarter, and Jason Tatum was going for that MVP. Dropped 55 All-Star game high. So good for him. But I'm really not a fan of this. Lowest rating since 2000.
I read that. Yeah.
Worse ratings than the frickin' Pro Bowl.
That's crazy. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing right there.
In my opinion, that is a disgrace. Absolutely pitiful.
I'm just shocked with that stat that you just brought that up. That's shocking. What is your thought, Z-Ball, on the All-Star game? I mean, let's start.
For the most part, it's been for me. It was pretty similar to what the past 5-6 All-Star games have been. Obviously, this was the fourth time, that they've done the Elam ending, where they've added 24 at the end of the third. The difference this time it wasn't as close of a game going into the 4th quarter as it was the prior 3. So there wasn't, I guess, much urgency from the team that was down, which is Team LeBron this time, to kind of come out in the 4th, play some defense, play a little harder, and because they had to have scored 41, I guess, just to even catch up, get to the target number in the 4th quarter. But I think this is just overall kind of a greater problem that is kind of going on in the NBA, which is basically the NBA has become rings culture. The regular season doesn't matter. What you do in the playoffs matters. The regular season is irrelevant. And I think that's at the fault of the sports media in general, because they've been pushing kind of these different narratives, and you see it all on these talk shows every day. Well, who's under the most pressure going into this playoffs? Is this a legacy game for this guy? Is this a legacy game for that guy? So it's just the whole entire narrative of the NBA has become what's going to happen in the playoffs, who's ultimately going to win the ring, and it's become a lot of rings culture. So I think that's kind of the bigger macro problem that's caused the quality that we've gotten from these All-Star games in the past 5-6 seasons.
I mean, well said. I mean, I'll touch on some of your points, but first, I watched this game, watched the entire game. It was tough to watch the whole game. It was extremely tough to sit through this entire game. In my opinion, to just summarize, this was a joke. This is an absolute joke, and it was embarrassing. Nobody was playing any defense. I mean, glorified warm-ups, Big Ree, like you said, that they're just going through warm-up lines and anybody can dunk. Basically, anybody can shoot a 3. No defense at all. And it was just a joke. It was not enjoyable to watch. I mean, as a fan and then as a competitor, for the fans, they should be like, dude, we're going to be able to watch the 15, 20 best players in the league play and compete against each other. Everybody should be pumped as hell to watch that. Who doesn't want to watch the lineup that LeBron drafted versus the lineup versus Giannis drafted? Who wouldn't want to watch these guys all in? Dude, that would be... You want to watch the best players play against each other and see who's going to perform. And we didn't get that. We saw nobody playing any damn defense. It is a damn joke. And you're talking about, injuries this and injuries that, and everybody's worried about the injuries. And I mean, and it kind of to Z-Ball's point is like, I was about to make the point that, there's 82 games. You can get injured in any 82 games, right? What's one other game that you're going to play? You have a risk to get injured in every single game, right? And I get it. And then we're going to go back to which games matter and what don't, right? The regular season doesn't matter, so it's all about the playoffs. And the All-Star game doesn't matter, right? So there's nothing there. So people are not trying to get injured in that game. But you're playing 80 games, maybe if you run the table close to 90 or 100 games in a whole season, and you're worried about one game, 48-minute game, where you're playing 30 minutes, it's a damn joke. But whose fault is that? You can't blame the players. They can go out there and get paid to just walk around and not do anything.
Yeah.
It's not the players' fault. The NBA has to do something about this. First of all, I mean, how do you fix this, right? Are you going to start giving the winning team an incentive? Everyone gets $2 million? Every player gets $2 million, then they're going to start playing? I mean, what do you do here?
I don't know. I mean, it's just it's just, and I also don't like the format. I want to go back to East versus West as well. I don't like the format.
A captain picks their team,
Yeah.
and I agree with that. I have nothing against East versus West. What do you think, Z-Ball?
I mean, East versus West, I think was always good, but I don't know what you can do in terms of changing the format, because I think they already get paid some sort of amount. I don't think it's that much.
Yep.
Obviously, it's not enough for players to give a damn.
Yep.
But I don't know if they can set an amount that will make players give a damn or play a little harder, just because, I mean, and then I think you guys talk about betting a lot on your guys' show, so I think betting has something to do with it a little bit as well. So that kind of we're in that era of where betting is so widespread, so available to a lot of different people. So I think that plays a little bit of a factor as well. So.
A factor in what?
Just kind of the way the game, the quality of the game. I guess players don't really give a damn about betting, but a lot of fans do. So I think that's part of the reason why you see a bunch of the outcry from the All-Star game of the quality of it. So I'm sure there was a lot of people that bet on Team LeBron, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
After they saw that draft, and
Yep.
right between the draft and the 15 minutes when the game started, there's probably a lot of people putting a lot of money, a lot of wagers on Team LeBron to win that game.
And that's an interesting point. For sure that happened. I saw the draft and I was like, dude, LeBron's team is going to destroy these guys, in my opinion. If you just look talent versus talent, I thought they were going to destroy them. But then it's dude, nobody could have predicted that nobody was going to play at all. But then it goes back to the regular season too. You see the rosters, you see okay, it's a better team, but then half these guys don't want to play and they take rest and are sitting out, and then that's messing up the betting for a lot of the fans too. It is completely, it's a whole new school here when it comes to NBA betting. But I don't know what they can do. Like you said, what amount can they incentivize these players to actually play? Or maybe I know Adam Silver has been kicking around some mid-season tournament or something, right? But at some point, we're here, everybody gets excited about the playoffs. You're seeing the better teams play, right?
Yeah.
And then they're playing in series. But at the end of the day, other than the teams, you want to see the best players play. Who doesn't want to see the best players play against the best players? Right?
For sure, yeah.
You want to see who wouldn't want to see the best 10, 25 best players in the league constructed 12 and 12 on each side, coach for a 7-game series?
Yeah.
Dude, how dope would that be to watch? And as a competitor, you want to play against the better players.
Yeah.
So there's got to be somewhere where I get everyone's getting drafted to their own team, but they gotta fix this. And I think this was embarrassing, in my opinion. My last thoughts on it was embarrassing. I heard a lot of players with the same sentiment that this was embarrassing. And so hopefully they make any changes. Anything you guys want to throw in? Last thoughts, Z-Ball?
Not really. I mean, just bad product to watch, especially, if they're not going to play much defense and the scores are going to be in the 180s and stuff. So I mean, there's got to be at least a little bit of defense, a little bit of kind of like incentive, and then I think on the players' end, I mean, you kind of want to go out there and show that you belong amongst those top 20, top 22 players, right? So I think, especially some of the new All-Stars, right?
Yep.
You want to go out there and kind of prove your worth and that you're worthy of the selection, right? Like prove that you're worthy of that selection. So I think that should be a point to look for in the future, hopefully.
I agree. That's really well said, Z-Ball. Like, you made the All-Star, like, show that you belong with the top 25 players. Show that you belong when you're going up against them. So, all right, let's get into the NBA trade deadline. There was a few major deals that went down, and we'll probably really, dive into the major deals. Let's get into some of the smaller trades. January 23rd, Lakers acquired Rui Hachimura from Washington Wizards for Kendrick Nunn.
It's a wash, I think, in my opinion. I think Lakers just over Nunn. As a Laker fan, they wanted to take a chance on Rui and give him a shot.
Yeah, I mean, he was drafted, I think, 8th overall out of Gonzaga to the Wizards a few years ago. Showed some flashes. Hasn't had a full-time starting role consistently. He's got some potential. He's about 39% on the three-pointers, catch and shoot guy. 6'8". I think he can help the Lakers. I don't know how much of a difference maker he is. What do you think, Z-Ball?
I mean, I think he's more reliable than Kendrick Nunn was during his time with the Lakers, and I think that's a big thing. And then obviously, you mentioned the shooting. That's always vital for role players, and whenever they play with LeBron, they got to be able to catch and shoot just because he passes to them, and he needs his supporting cast to spread the floor to create driving lanes for him and Anthony Davis as well. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think that will be, if he can shoot at a 40% percentage, 40%, that'd be great, and he can,
That'll be excellent for the Lakers. I mean, they've really lacked shooting the past couple seasons. That's really what's been their demise the past few seasons.
Yep, and we'll get into some other trades they made. Let's go one of the first big trades that hit here. The Mavericks traded for Kyrie Irving. They gave up Spencer Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith, 2029 first-round pick and 2 second-round picks. I'm going to start with you, Big Ree. Let's start with obviously Brooklyn. After Kyrie made the trade demand, they just cleaned house. They got rid of him and Durant. We'll get into the Durant trade, but they kind of are just loading up. Yeah. They got some pieces. But let's start for the Mavericks. What does the acquisition of Kyrie Irving to the Mavericks do for them?
Well, so far they're 0-2 with Kyrie and Luka on the court.
Small
just for the
size,
record.
yeah. Yep.
Small size, yeah. But I don't know. It could be good. It's either going to be a home run or a strikeout. In my opinion, it's a strikeout. These guys are going to get bounced in the first round.
Bounce in the first, okay.
And these guys, I just don't feel Luka knows how it feels when someone else has the ball so much. Like some people think like it's good to have Kyrie there. He's a shooter. I mean, I don't know. You have Christian Wood now, but I'm still not sold on. I'm not sold on Kyrie. I'm not sold on. So I'm not. I don't know what to say and what he brings. And the one thing I will respect about Kyrie for this one, he actually didn't commit to staying in Dallas when the media grilled him and asked him, because there's a good chance he's coming to the Lakers in the offseason. But
you never know.
Anyways.
But you don't think this is a difference maker, gets them to legit title contenders?
No. At best, they're going to the second round.
At best.
If they're lucky.
At best.
But I have them losing in the first round. I'm going to make that clear.
Okay. What do you think, Z-Ball?
Yeah, I mean, the West just got more loaded with the trades, but it's a trade I like. I'm not super big fan of Kyrie just because of some of his antics and stuff and his reliability and stuff, but I think he's a good fit for Dallas. I think they need that second kind of playmaker, especially in late game situations. They don't want to become too predictable. With Luka dominating the ball, making everything happen, a lot of pressure on Luka as well, energy-wise. So I think Kyrie is someone that can create his own shot, can get shots for others, and he's someone that can dominate the ball in those late game situations when it's really going to be needed in the playoffs and down the stretch for seeding because they want to get in the top 4. I think. I mean, they're currently 6th right now. I mean, maybe they can pass Sacramento. Who knows? Let's see.
Yeah.
But I think that's something they need to fix their seeding. I mean, they're not going to have a deep run if they're 6th, I think. But if they get in the top 4, top 5, they might have an outside chance just because Luka's one of the better players. And then if Kyrie can provide the support down the stretch, making big plays, making big shots, creating offense, and they could possibly go far. I mean, they went to the conference finals last season without Kyrie, so I mean, who's to say that they can't do it again?
Okay.
So I have a question for you, Z-Ball. You brought up late game situations. So obviously these guys didn't get a shot off. Keep passing it to each other. Kyrie and Luka, what's your take on that? They didn't even get a shot off.
You're referring to that last game they played, right?
The last game.
Yep.
I don't know. Obviously, there's a learning curve between a couple new teammates. Obviously, they have about a quarter of the season left to figure that out. That's not good. You obviously want to get a shot off, but I think my greater point with Kyrie is that just down the stretch, if you keep making Luka create everything for you offensively, I think that makes it easier for the opposing defense. And just having Kyrie there to mix up the offense is going to bring a different dynamic, a different look for opposing defenses to have to handle the Mavericks offense. So that's kind of my greater point. I did not see the play that you're referring to, but obviously that's never a good thing when in a late game situation when you're not able to get a shot off and you have confusion and kind of you're not on the same page chemistry wise, continuity wise just yet. But hopefully that's something that they can fix going into the playoffs. And I think Kyrie there, over the long term, at least this season, I think it's a good thing just because it gives them a better dynamic, another playmaker, different dynamic down the stretch in late game pressure pack situations.
I'm going to agree with Z-Ball on this acquisition here. Like, first, my thought is I agree with you too, Reed, that this could be a home run, it could be a bust, okay? For sure, because Luka is used to having the ball in his hands all the time, and that's how he operates, and that's how he's able to control the floor and control the offense. But my thought is, like, on Dallas's perspective, without making this trade, they have no chance at all. It's done. They're not getting the finals. They're not getting with this loaded West now. No chance of even getting the conference finals this year. I think that was a fluke last year, to be honest. But with Kyrie, at least you have a chance, I think. Like, you got to have a lot of things go right, get home court advantage maybe in the first round, maybe something in the second round potentially, depending if there's some upsets. Kyrie has got to, he's dropping 28, 29 a game on, 48, 49% shooting, 38% from threes. If he can do that, and Luka can still play, you have a chance. You got to say, like, they're in contention to be the top 2 tandem in the league. Or in the West for sure, right? Like, they're in the conversation. I mean, who else do you put in that conversation in the West?
Devin Booker, Kevin Durant.
Okay, in the conversation.
Steph, Clay.
Steph and Clay over Kyrie and Luka?
I don't know about Clay anymore. He's not as potent as he used to be. That's just my opinion.
It's a question mark. Clay shows that he can still be that guy, and he's improving as of late. Like,
and I'm taking this one a million times.
What?
Joker and Jamal Murray. Give me Joker and Jamal Murray all day over those two. All day, every day.
See, that goes back to, like, the whole Clay and Steph. Like, Steph for sure, and then Clay is like, I don't know, and then Joker, like, he's legit, but, like, Jamal Murray, I don't know. What do you think, Z?
Jamal Murray's really good. I mean, I think we saw what he could do in those 2020 playoffs. Obviously, he got that gruesome injury. But is kind of maybe in that boat where you don't know what you're going to get from him on a night-to-night. I mean, Kawhi and Paul George could be in that mix. If the Lakers make the playoffs, Anthony Davis and LeBron could be in that mix.
I agree, yep.
So, I mean, obviously Kyrie, Luka are there, Booker and Durant.
Yep.
For sure. And then on the Grizzlies, I don't know if there's anyone to pair along with John Morant that's really puts them at the top of that list.
I agree.
So.
Yeah, so the West is loaded. There's a lot of guys that are in this conversation. I'm just saying, now you got that second guy. Things have to work out. They still have a lot of missing pieces, but things have to work out. But they're interesting. Now, like everybody's already scared of Luka. And now you add like Kyrie there. You can't just game plan around Luka anymore. That's it. Like now you have to game plan for both of these guys to go off at 30 any night. Any night. I mean, Kyrie, had 26 in that game, and in the fourth quarter of that game that you're referring to, Big Ree, when they didn't get a shot off. And
yeah, we got to talk about that. These guys both played amazing. And they still lost.
Yeah, but it's a short...
These guys had amazing games, like the top games. I think Kyrie had 36, I believe. Luka had 33.
They both had good games.
And Christian Wood had 24.
Yeah, so that's a good point that they played great. They still
all
lost.
balled out.
But still a small sample size. Big Z-Ball said
we'll come back to this, and they'll be out in the first round.
This is a learning curve. I agree, and so can't say anything. But let's move on. Let's move on.
Gonna go to the big splash.
Oh, let's go on to the Lakers. The Lakers traded Russell. They traded they got D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt. They got they ended up trading Russell Westbrook and a first-round pick. You being a Laker fan, Big Ree, let's make this clear. You are a Laker fan, right? Absolutely. On camera. You're officially admitting that
every day.
You're a Laker fan. How do you feel about this trade, Big Ree?
I love this trade because, one, I love they didn't get Kyrie. Everyone's going to hate me for this.
So you love that they didn't get Kyrie?
Yeah, because one, the first reason is they didn't have to give up both first-round picks. That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, the first-round pick they gave up is top 4 protected.
Okay.
So those are two reasons.
Okay.
And also you're adding 2 young guys.
Yep.
And D'Angelo Russell looks like he's fitting in very well.
Okay.
I mean, it's a small sample size as we've seen.
So you're, as a Laker fan, you're really happy about this.
Yes.
About this trade.
I'm very happy about this trade.
And then how do you feel about the Lakers getting rid of Russell Westbrook?
That was like thank God, about time.
So you're happy with you don't feel losing Russell Westbrook as in a 6-man role is going to hurt them at all?
No, it's going to help them.
It's going to help them?
Yeah.
Okay, so clearly we know Big Ree's take on Russell Westbrook. What about you, Zebo? What do you think about this trade?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Westbrook obviously wasn't good in the starting lineup. He went to the 6-man, and I think he was playing pretty good there for a little while, but I think the relationship just kind of soured. It was never longed for it after they put him in kind of that 6-man role. And I think their entire trade deadline moves has improved them, and they have to kind of just make that 21-game run that they have left, or 23 games, something like that, to kind of get into that. First, obviously, move into the play-in window between 7 and 10, and then hopefully they want to move into 6 so they don't have to deal with the play-in, but they might not have any choice at this point, being I think in 13th place right now or something like that.
Yep, they're right now they're in 13th.
Yeah, so but I like the moves overall. I think they got younger, and then if you go back to their championship team, there's a lot of young guys, mostly kind of around LeBron and Anthony Davis. And now after they traded Russell Westbrook, I think the only player that's over 30 on the team is LeBron, I believe. The 2 oldest players after that are Schroeder and Anthony Davis, who are both 29. And I think it gives them defensive versatility, shooters, and then a pretty good point guard in D'Angelo Russell. Obviously, he's not a elite guy, but as maybe the 4th guy on the team, 3rd guy, alongside LeBron and Anthony Davis, I think he can play well. I think it's just a matter of chemistry, and obviously they got to have some kind of consistency. I mean, they haven't really had that all year. As far as lineups goes, I think they've had the most starting lineups so far in the entire league, the first 3 quarters of the season. So I think they got to build some continuity, some consistency at the starting lineup and kind of the rotations, and hopefully into the playoff run if they get there. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a good trade. I think they had to make a trade. They had to do something. I think losing Russell Westbrook is an underrated move. Is not talked about enough. Like, they did gain I mean, I like Beasley a lot. I think he has a lot of potential. He played well in his stint with Minnesota, right? And then he got traded over to, the Jazz. But he played well. I like him a lot. I think he can actually have a lot of opportunity to improve there. D'Angelo is not an elite guy, but if he can fit in, he doesn't need to be elite with LeBron and Anthony Davis. So he could be a good pickup. And I think they made some good moves, the Lakers. Let's see, what they can do. Like you said, it's still a quarter of the season. Let's see what they can do. They got a lot to make up for, a lot of room to make up now, but a lot of work to do. But I think they can do it. They got a roster now.
Yeah.
They got deeper, so that means their bench is better, right? And so they can make a move quickly. The Knicks acquired Josh Hart, traded away Cam Reddish. I think that's a decent pickup for the Knicks.
Yeah.
They can, it's not nothing. We're not going to discuss it too much, but that's solid for the Knicks. Cam Reddish, been a prospect when he got drafted 10th out of Duke. Hasn't really performed in Atlanta. Hasn't got an opportunity with the Knicks. Don't know what it is. Is he just not that good? Is he not getting the opportunity? Is he lazy? I don't know. But take a flyer on them for Portland, see what happens. Raptors reacquired Jakob Podol from the Spurs. I don't know what they're doing there. They're giving away a first-round pick.
I love this deal. I love it a lot. I think he's a good fit there.
Okay.
They need a big man, and he's the perfect one. He had a great game. He had about, I think, 6 blocks in his game, but recent game.
But I'm not talking about the trade itself. Like, he's a good player, but what do you think? Like, Toronto's not competing. I mean, what are they doing? Like, they're trading.
They're not competing. I agree.
Toronto's in the in-between stage. They're not.
They were either going to go all out or ball out. Like, go ahead, Zebo.
Yeah, they're not great. They're not. They're in the middle. They're not great. They're not competing either. They're not great or they're not terrible.
Yeah. We'll get into like I said, I think he's a nice player, but I don't know how much it moves the needle there. Let's get into the Hawks acquired Sadiq Bey. Pistons got James Wiseman, the former number 2 overall pick out of Memphis, and I think the Warriors would acquire the guy Gary Payton.
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
I mean, they let him go, then they acquired him again. They figured he was a crucial part.
How do you feel about the whole situation, though?
About the whole not disclosing the medical? Yeah. It probably happens all the time. I think it's non-issue to me, to be honest. I think they're just overreacting. They knew what they were getting.
So you think the Warriors are overreacting?
I think so. I think the Warriors are overreacting, and they wanted the guy Payton anyways. They probably knew that this guy wasn't healthy because he clearly wasn't playing. Yeah, it's not like he was playing, so not a big deal in my eyes. They gave away, I'm just surprised they gave away the number 2 overall pick, Wiseman. They just gave him away.
He was pretty much done.
What do you mean he was done?
He's not done.
He's not good?
He's not going to do anything there because they have all the star players. He's not going to get time.
But he's a center, dude. It's not like he is.
But the Warriors play small ball.
But
they don't. That's why they don't have a big besides Looney. Like, they don't even have a backup big right now, off their bench.
So you think it's more about the Warrior style of offense opposed to like Wiseman? Like, this guy's not a bust.
Yeah, like if they wanted a backup big, they would at least sign a veteran. And there's many veterans out there that are free agents.
Dude, this guy's the number 2 overall pick, hasn't played much, and now you just give him away for Gary Payton II? What do you think, Zebo? What do you think here?
I thought Gary Payton was a very important piece for them last season. Good role guy, kind of in the same vein of kind of like a Sean Livingston, kind of in their previous dynasty. I think they really wanted to re-sign him, but they weren't able to. So now that they got him back, and I think just internally, I got the sense from the Warriors that they were going to move off Wiseman either way. They were just internally they didn't really think it was going to pan out too much. So I think they wanted to put more focus to their other young guys like Kuminga and Moses Moody and Jordan Poole and such. So their kind of situation was they want to create another dynasty, or while they're still in this dynasty, would kind of pass it off to the young guys. Obviously no team's ever done that before. Let's see if they can do that. But I don't. Gary Payton, I think if he can play, which the reports are, he's going to be ready in a month. I think he's a very important piece for them because we haven't really seen them at full strength as well the entire season. Wiggins has been out, Clay has been out. They haven't really, obviously Curry's out currently, so they haven't really had their full cast available consistently. So if they had their full cast available consistently alongside Peyton on the bench, coming off the bench, I think they're definitely a scary team going into the playoffs.
I think they are. I mean, I think you can never count out the Warriors. They're the defending champs, and you can't count them out. They haven't been healthy this year, but unless you win the title this year, this is a bonehead move, in my opinion. A bonehead move by the Warriors. Like, I get it, this guy might not pan out, and he might not, but, like, the value that you got, I don't feel like Gary Payton moves the needle that much. I don't think he moves the needle. I think he's a nice role player for them, and you better win. If you don't win with this trade, I mean, I think otherwise you should have let this guy, start this guy, let him build some value, and then get something out of him.
Well, with all those players, he's not going to build any value. Sometimes you just got to accept the L and move on.
Yeah, I agree with that you got to accept the L, Big Ree, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen enough of this guy to call him a bust.
He's not a bust, yeah, I can agree on that.
But, you know, look, you got the Pistons, on the other hand, stacking back to, number 2 overall picks. They got Marvin Bagley. They traded for him. Now they traded for Wiseman.
Yeah,
these guys are starting to just try to get some talent. If one of these guys pans out, could be a nice gamble for them. They're not giving up much. Quickly, you think as a Laker fan, Mo Bamba, you think he's going to do anything with the Lakers?
I was kind of happy with that. A little sad to see Thomas Bryant go, but they said he wanted out, I guess. I don't know. But hopefully, it's a good trade.
Mo Bamba, number 5 overall pick out of Texas, hasn't done much. He's a bust up to this point, but
we'll see,
he's another guy that hasn't played that much either.
Exactly, yeah. LeBron is good at making big men good, look nice. So,
all right. So let's see what happens with Mo Bamba. Trying to see if there's anything else other than we get to the big splash here. Let's get to the big splash here. I mean, the Clippers got Eric Gordon, Bones Highland. I like Bones Highland.
Bones Highland was a steal. I don't know how the hell
they caught
Denver gave him for 2 seconds. I would ask for at least the first.
It looks like there was some locker room issues, I'm guessing. There were some locker room issues.
They said he was all but gone, yeah.
There are some other issues that are outside of his talent. You give him up. He was playing well for 2 second-round picks. What do you think? Any thoughts on that, Z-Ball?
I think it's a good trade. I think that's another ball handler for them off the bench. Improves their depth. I mean, they already had good depth. And then obviously Eric Gordon coming back to the Clippers. I mean, he played there his first couple seasons. I think he's someone that can create. I mean, most people know him as a shooter, but I think he can create off the ball a little. I mean, not at an elite level, but I think he can dribble, and I think he can defend as well. I think that's why they were adamant to get him and move off Luke Kennard. He's a better defender than Luke Kennard, so I think that's the reason they made that trade. And then obviously Mason Plumlee, they needed a backup big other than Zubac. Obviously Zubac, they don't want to put much of a load on him.
Yep.
So then Moses Brown wasn't really cutting it for them, so they went out and got a backup big in Plumlee who can spread the floor and can shoot threes and is a very good rim protector as well.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Plumlee pickup as long as they don't play him more than 15 minutes. I think he's a hustle guy that can come in and produce for 15 minutes. So I like that. They needed a backup there. Moses Brown, that guy has some potential, but he's lazy. You watch him play, that guy's lazy. He's lazy. I like the Eric Gordon pickup. He's a shooter. He got drafted by the Clippers in 2007, I believe it was, 7th overall, out of Indiana. He had a good, he had a nice career. He's on the back end of his career, but he can shoot, he can defend. Obviously, I was sad to see Kennard go. I thought he's the White Harden. I liked his game, but just didn't get enough opportunity. But I mean, I like Kennard. Bones, I think he can pan out. He's going to have to understand that he can't be hogging the ball and going too crazy because you got Paul George and Kawhi. But I like what they did. I think. Are
we gonna forget the biggest move?
We're about to get into the Clippers.
Yeah.
What was the biggest move?
Signing Russell Westbrook.
Okay, well that was not on the trade deadline, but we can get into that. Yeah, let's get into that. The Clippers recently. Has he officially signed?
It's official.
It's official as of today, or
today,
as of today?
A few hours ago.
Okay, so I'll lead it on to you, Big Ree.
So I was very hyped about this because a lot of Clipper fans were talking smack to me about Russell Westbrook. And before I even get into anything, the most interesting thing I saw on Twitter, the Clippers went from 11-1 before signing Russell Westbrook to 12-1 after signing him. Thank you, Vegas. Vegas knows.
Can I jump in real quick, Big Ree? Just so you know, that was a fake picture. I saw that too. That was fake. Just so you know. Just so you know, that's fake. That's fake.
I won't believe it.
Just so you know, that's fake, Big Ree. Because that picture came out before he even signed.
Yeah, because
that was fake, Big Ree. I know a lot of people want to troll Russell Westbrook. You obviously bought into the Kool-Aid. You're excited about that. That was fake news. The odds did not go down. Probably didn't go up, but the odds did not go down. Russell Westbrook, I mean, my thoughts on the Russell Westbrook acquisition is I like it. I mean, it's going to be interesting how he can coexist with these other guys, but I like it. I liked his role with the Lakers. He was playing good with that in his role with the Lakers. So as long as Russ, just stop shooting threes.
No, keep shooting threes.
Stop shooting threes. Maybe one or two at most.
Airball layups.
He's good. I like Russ.
Make sure to only hit the
because you know
what?
You know why Russell Westbrook is a better player this year than he was before? Do you know why? Because now the defense in the NBA is so bad and they're all focused on the three-point line. Russ gets to the lane much easier. That's why he's playing better. That's why he played well this year with the Lakers. Because he just could get to the lane. So if he just understands that, stays away from the three-pointer and just drives, he's actually an asset. But I like the pickup. Whether it gets them to the championship, that's kind of like it's kind of like the Gary Payton move. If they make the move and they win the championship, this is great. The greatest move they made. Or it could backfire on them, and everyone's going to say this is why they lost. So, what's your thought, Z-Ball?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the move for the Clippers. I just don't. I think it's more driven by the fact that Paul George is pushing for it, in my opinion. I don't see how he fits into them. I mean, there's no way he should start. If he takes Terrence Mann's starting spot, that's an absolute joke. Just because Terrence Mann is a much better defender. I think he's a better fit, better energy guy with Kawhi and Paul George. And I just don't know how his fast-paced Westbrook, I mean, he's a guy that likes to get out on fast breaks and stuff like that, is going to fit into the slow pace of mid-range game of Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Obviously, he's a guy that, I mean, they kind of had someone similar to him in John Wall, and John Wall didn't really do much for them this season. It's a low risk just because he's a buyout guy. They're not going to re-sign him after this season. If he plays like 15 minutes a game, makes a couple big moments in the playoffs that push them over the edge, obviously it's a win. But right now I'm not seeing it. But I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. So but we'll see. I just don't really see how he's going to fit.
So you're not a fan overall.
Not a fan of them. I thought they should have stayed away from it.
Okay, well we'll see. Like I said, I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of this thing, but I'm definitely not like, hey, I'm against it. I like it. I like it. I think they can. I think they had to have known bringing him in that they're going to fit him in. But let's get into the last big trade, and then we're running low on time, guys. We got the Kevin Durant got traded from the Brooklyn Nets to the Phoenix Suns along with T.J. Warren, and they got in return Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson, Jay Crowder, who they flipped to the Bucks, 4 first-round picks, and 2 2028 pick swap. Real quick, who won this trade?
The team who gets the All-Star always wins.
Okay.
But Brooklyn's going in on the future, so good for them. They got 4 first-round picks. Mikal Bridges looked pretty good. He dropped 45 or 40-something the other night.
Do you like the trade for the Suns?
I mean, they went all in. It's championship or bust for them now.
So you like the trade?
Yeah, they have to win now. It's win or go home for them. Let's see. Kevin Durant's expected to debut next Wednesday, March 1st, according to Shams, versus the Hornets. So we'll see how they all mesh in. They didn't give up Booker, Ayton, or Chris Paul. I heard they didn't want Chris Paul, so BOD, because he's kind of old,
Yeah, I mean, Zebo, what are your thoughts here? I mean, what are your thoughts on the trade?
I think it's a great trade for Phoenix. Obviously, they saw the window with Chris Paul closing down. I mean, who knows how many more seasons he has kind of playing. And then Mikal Bridges is obviously a good, durable player, but kind of in the current environment that he was in, he was not really going to shine. Maybe kind of similar. I'm not saying he's going to be like James Harden, but maybe he kind of has that role now, going from a contending team to kind of like another team where he's the ultimate guy, the number one option, the guy that defenses are honing in on. So we'll see how he fares in Brooklyn the rest of this season and going forward as the number one option and their best player. But for Phoenix, yeah, like echoing Big Ree's sentiments, that this is championship or bust now for sure. I mean, and Kevin Durant has a lot of pressure on him going to another stacked team, and let's see how people treat him, because people do not give him any BOD at all for winning those titles as the best player in Golden State.
Hold on, I just want to make sure he was the best player on those 2 championship teams.
And from my opinion, what I saw those 3 seasons, he was the best player during that time frame on the Warriors. Yes. So yeah, I mean, yeah, going back to the Suns, yeah, I think Chris Paul, obviously, you're not going to get much from him. You just hope that he stays healthy and in the playoffs and kind of just leads the offense, controls the tempo of the game. And then Durant, I mean, we know how he goes back and forth on Twitter with people, some of the off-court distractions and stuff, but when time comes to play, he's there. He comes and balls out. I think he's going to do that with Phoenix, alongside Booker and DeAndre Ayton, and they now have 3 of the top kind of like mid-range guys and shooters in the league with Paul, Booker, and Durant. They're all really good at mid-range jump shots. I think, yeah, they've got to be the favorites in the West after this trade, in my opinion, for sure.
Okay. I mean, real quickly, I think, yeah, Suns, huge acquisition. Definitely, I think they're the favorite now in the West, no question about it. Brooklyn, I like the Mikal Bridges acquisition. Cameron Johnson, he's all right. Jay Crowder, they already traded him away. They got 4 first-round picks. At this point, they weren't going to get dollar for dollar on the money anyway, so they had to unload him. Can't come away with 4 first-round picks. You move on. That's it. You got to move on.
Accept the L,
and hopefully Mikal Bridges can turn into a borderline all-star player.
Yeah.
I mean, he has a potential there. He's already showing. So let's move on real quickly. NBA Rookie of the Year, Paolo Banchero. You guys agree?
Yeah.
I'd say he's the favorite right now. If Keegan Murray was a little better, I think he would be probably a favorite, just because Sacramento's 3rd place in the West currently, and moving towards their first playoff appearance since 2006. So.
Yeah, but he hasn't shown enough. He's had some flashes. We got Paulo at minus 1,000 right now.
Yeah,
I don't see that changing in the next 20 games or so.
Yeah, I think he's winning. Quickly on the MVP, we got Joker minus 300, Embiid plus 550, Antetokounmpo plus 750, Luka plus 1,800, Tatum plus 2,000. What do you think, Ree? Any of these guys can catch Joker?
If the Nuggets finish first place, there's no way Joker doesn't get it.
Averaging first center, averaging a triple-double.
Yeah.
3rd person in NBA history. So you're saying Joker is going to get it as long as they
finish first place. You can't go.
What do you think, Z-Ball?
I think Embiid can make a run. I think Philly's playing really well, and he's playing really well too. And he's the driving force for them to make a run in the East. I mean, they haven't gotten to the conference finals since 2001, I believe.
Yep.
And then Jokic, obviously, on the other end, looking to become first player to win 3 straight MVP since Larry Bird did it in the mid-'80s. So.
Okay, so you think Jokic, though, but Embiid might be able to catch him.
I think, yeah, Jokic probably, just the way the storyline is going with, I mean, I think he's shooting an insane 63%. And, I mean, he's primed to make a run. Usually, a 3rd time around, the media creates a kind of a story and narrative away from the guy who's trying to win the 3rd straight MVP, but it's kind of become the opposite this season, and they're kind of creating the narrative for him to win 3 straight. So, but I think Embiid can make a run, possibly if Philly gets that number 1 seed in the East. I mean, and they're only 2 games out currently. So.
Okay. I mean, I think Joker's gonna win this one. I just think it is. But so Tatum plus 20 to 1. But I don't think he's gonna win. But he's playing great. Quickly some futures, and we'll get into our predictions for the rest of the season. I mean, Boston and Phoenix are top of the NBA odds to win, plus 325 Boston, plus 425 Phoenix, and then plus 550 Milwaukee. I mean, any team here, Big Reed, that you would say, hey, put your money on, value there?
I like Denver.
Denver plus 750?
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Z-Ball?
I'd say Milwaukee or Phoenix. I think those are probably 2 teams that I think you get good value at, and I think those are 2 teams that I think should be full strength in this year's playoffs.
Any chance of the Warriors plus 12 to 1?
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's a very good one as well. I mean, I mentioned
fabulous.
that they haven't had their full ensemble of players yet, so they're hopefully going to get that for them in the next 3 weeks or something.
Yeah, I mean, Warriors 12 to 1, Clippers 12 to 1.
Do not bet on the Clippers. Just save your money. Do not.
Here's an interesting Eastern Conference to win the East. You think the Bulls have any chance there, Big Ree? Plus 150 to 1?
No chance.
No value? I mean...
What place? They are 11th place.
I don't know, man. They just got Patrick Beverly, and that could be a huge addition to them. Let's go into our predictions. The show went longer than expected. We didn't get into our BS segment, but let's get into some more predictions to end the season. Coming out of the East. Let's go in the East. I'm going to go in the top 10 real quick that are in the playoffs right now. I want to know your guys' top 2 in the conference. Who you guys see going to the conference championship, and then who do you guys are winning it? So we got Boston number 1 right now, Milwaukee, then Philadelphia, then Cleveland, Brooklyn, New York, then Miami at number 7, Atlanta 8, Washington 9, Toronto 10, and the Bulls are at 11. So Big Ree, 2 teams you like going to the conference championship in the East.
This is a 2-team conference. It's Bucks, Celtics. Z-Ball knows it too.
Okay, Z-Ball?
I'm going to say Philly and Milwaukee in the conference finals.
Philly?
That can't happen currently, right?
No, but things can change. So
I'll say Philly and Milwaukee.
I mean, things can change. So you're saying Philly and Milwaukee, okay, that you like, and you're thinking out of those 2 teams, which team do you think is going to win the East?
It's so tough. It's about Time Lord's health. I mean, you got
to make a bet. Who do you see
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee. What do you think,
I
Z?
say Milwaukee too.
All right. I mean, I think here, I'm not buying Boston this year.
Damn, Shay.
I'm not buying Boston.
Sorry, Shay.
I'm on the Z-Ball, boat with. I like Milwaukee, and I think. I mean, if Philadelphia didn't have Doc Rivers as their coach, they would be up there. But, I mean, I think Cleveland makes a run here. I think Cleveland makes a run to the conference championship along with Milwaukee.
Yeah, it's right from the horse's mouth.
I think they can upset Boston. But what are your thoughts? One team other than the 2 that you named that you think can make a run to the conference championship? Miami for you.
Boston. I think it's a 3-team conference.
Okay, so one of those 3 teams. Other than that, okay, let's get into the I'm picking out of that. I'm picking Milwaukee to go, but with Middleton not being 100% healthy, I don't know.
Yeah,
but I think Cavs are an interesting team. I think they're an interesting team. They can make a run. West here we got number 1 right now, currently sitting at number 1, Denver, then Memphis, the Kings. Then number 4 is the Clippers, 5 is Phoenix, 6 is Dallas, 7 New Orleans, 8 Minnesota, 9 the Golden State Warriors, 10 Oklahoma City, 11 Utah, 12 the Blazers, and 13 the Lakers. All right, I'm going to start with you, Big Ree. Conference championship.
Nuggets Suns.
Okay, Z-Ball.
Clippers and Phoenix.
This is a tough one. The West is so loaded, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I kind of have to agree with Z-Ball here again. I think, Clippers and Phoenix, I think, are two teams that I think are very complete. I mean, the Suns have the edge for sure, I think, no question. They got that big four, I want to call it, with Ayton. They're nice. I mean, they're nice, but what one or two teams, Big Ree, that you can see making a run, because the West is deep, 13 deep.
Obviously, the Warriors, never can count them out. I don't see the Grizzlies going anywhere.
What about the Lakers?
Let's see if they make the playoffs.
If they make it, but that's the question. Do you think they can make a run?
Let's see. We'll have to see. I mean, they're looking nice, so let's see how they do. Can't give a biased pick, but hopefully they can.
What about you, Z-Ball?
I gotta say Denver, if it's not either Clippers or Phoenix.
So you think Denver is the team? Yeah, I mean, look, let's quickly, Denver, Joker, Aaron Gordon, Murray, Porter Jr., they got a nice squad. They can definitely make a run. Memphis, I don't know if they have enough yet.
They don't.
I don't think they have enough. The Kings, they haven't even made the playoffs in how long, so I'm not even counting them. And the Clippers always find a way to mess
lose.
up and to lose, and so... And
now you have Westbrook to help out.
And so you can't just say these guys are, but I like them. I like Phoenix. Dallas, as I said earlier, Kyrie and them really mesh. They have a chance. You got two really good players. I think the Pelicans, they had a really nice squad, but they're just not healthy. Zion is not healthy.
You got to feed Zion. He needs to eat. Let my boy eat.
But if he gets healthy in the last 20 games, they have a chance.
Right after Thanksgiving, he played so well, bro.
I don't think Minnesota has a chance. Here, they have a nice team. They're up and coming. Golden State, you can never count them out. Oklahoma City's not doing anything. Utah's not doing anything. Portland's got an interesting squad, but the West is too deep.
Yeah, I agree.
They got an interesting squad with Dame, Grant, Simmons, what's his name, Yusuf Nurkic. But they don't got enough there. And then Lakers, obviously interesting, but I don't know if they got enough. I think they can maybe.
See if they make it.
But they're an interesting team. But yeah, I would say Clippers and Phoenix, and then probably Denver. Those are my thoughts. Should be an exciting. I think the NBA playoffs are going to be super exciting this year, guys.
Yeah, for sure, no doubt.
The regular season's regular season's been a doozy, but the playoffs will be good. So, like I said, we're gonna have to cut the episode short. No more. We'll get into some BS talk next week.
Yeah.
Big Ree, we're gonna start some NBA picks soon. Yeah. Big Ree will be posting. I'll be posting. So look out for that. Thank you, Z-Ball, for joining us today. Always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Yeah,
thanks for having me on, guys.
All right. So other than that, we're going to sign off.
Yeah, peace out, guys.
All right.